Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. Wanted to do another unboxing video for you today. So something most of you are not aware of is that the very first video I did for my channel was a review of the Hobal Hyper 10 TT. That was a 1/10 scale electric four-wheel drive Truggy. Pretty much the only kit of that type on the market, and so I thought it would be an interesting vehicle to do a review of, and so that's what I did. And then the other interesting thing is that, there's a thread over on RC Tech forums where they're talking about four-wheel drive stadiums and how, how to convert basically a four-wheel drive buggy into one. And since I had an EB410, I thought it'd be cool if Tekno came out with an ET410. And guess what? 18 months later, there it is, the Tekno ET410. So I'm going to take credit for them actually building me one. I asked for it. They built one. Thank you guys, Tekno, etc. They didn't send me one for free. I'm not sure why, but I guess I'm not getting royalties or anything for this idea. But on a more serious note, I picked this up from my local hobby store. It just came out this week. They got 3 in today, and I happen to be one of the lucky ones to be able to get one of the 3. So I picked one up. It retails for $429.99, a little bit more than the EB410. But yeah, it's pretty cool because this is basically the second four-wheel drive electric Truggy 1/10 scale that's come out. And having owned an EB410, having owned a Hyper TT, I'm pretty familiar with this line of vehicles and thought this would be a cool truck to get. So let's get into it. Here it is, Tekno ET410 in their rather ugly, in my opinion, orange and blue color scheme, but whatever. 1/10 scale electric competition Truggy. So they kind of market this as both a basher and a race truck. Now, can you actually race this truck? Well, there are rules which actually govern four-wheel drive electric Truggies, so that is possible to do, although for the most part nobody really races these things. So it'll be interesting to see how this shapes up, whether this will sort of catch on and other manufacturers will build these, or whether it'll be kind of more of a novelty thing. But if nothing else, I think it'd be a fun vehicle to get and drive. So there's a little bit more in the back. You're going to need a channel receiver, blah, 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 ESC, etc. One interesting thing is that, they designed this to handle quite a bit of power. So, they recommend 6.5 to 8.5 turn motors or a 540 size 4-pole. 550 size motors, I guess, are not recommended. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of space to put 8th scale electronics or anything like that, but they did at least, design the drivetrain, etc., to handle a lot more power. So, Truggies have a lot of traction, they can handle a lot of power, so they make it for very fun vehicles overall. Some other tools that you need, etc. So yeah, let's cut these seals here. And I did not actually, obviously have not opened this vehicle yet. I'm going to do it right now, and we will check this thing out together. Got the factory seals off, got the little slip cover off. Throw that aside. And yeah, Tekno ET410 in their traditional black and white cardboard box. All right, so we got a big box of stuff. Starting with the top, we got all the fluids, black grease, thread lock, so 30K, 10K, I'm guessing 30 in the middle, 10 up front and back, 550 and 350 weight oil for the shocks. The shocks actually have changed in this kit. I think they use the rear shocks from the EB410 up front and then have all new rear shocks for the ET410. Other stuff going on here. Here's the wing. So this looks like the same wing as the EB410. That's kind of interesting. I'm strongly considering just getting like a plastic, like hard plastic wing like you would see on an 8th scale Truggy or e-buggy. Maybe saving that from EB410. So here's the actual body. In the pictures, it does not look particularly attractive. I mean, if you look at the shape, it's kind of cab forward with a really sloping back and kind of this crazy looking front end. I mean, I understand it'd be kind of hard to build a nice looking body because the front shock tower is up so high. So that's kind of a limitation of the design. All right, we got tons of bags. So let's actually cut this stuff open because otherwise there's like no way to actually look at this stuff. And then what we're going to do is probably just throw everything back in the box as we get stuff out. So, very first bag here, as you can see, I'm doing this sort of in real time here. Very first bag is going to be A, if I can find it. Bag A, differential. So, yeah, they have a brand new spur gear, so 32 tooth spur gears. Looks like the center differential is the same as before. Internal gears are the same. You know, they're still using that, I guess, you know, all-in-one spur gear and center diff cover, which I was not a big fan of with the EB410, but, you know, they didn't change the design. That's okay, not super important. Bag B, here are the other differentials. So one change they made was to make bigger teeth on these differentials, I guess to handle more power. So these ring gears and the, what do you call them, crown gears or pinion gears look a little beefier. So yeah, they did design this thing to handle a lot of power, so I plan to do so. Bag C, looks like probably the bulkheads, front steering rack. So they did change the steering rack a little bit from the EB410. I think it's a little beefier. I don't think there's any geometry changes. I could be wrong on that, but that is a little bit different. You got some bearings, you got the steering posts, and then the actual bell crank. So very similar to the EB410. So moving on to bag D, we've got I'm guessing the front shock tower. I think it's 10 millimeters in thickness, super crazy thick. Maybe this is the rear end, I'm not 100% sure. But more bearings. Looks like body mounts, or maybe this is, yeah, that looks like a body mount. Body mount, yeah, and a very beefy looking shock tower. I mean, they did redesign the shock tower for the ET410 because the shocks are longer. And so I would assume the shock towers are probably a little bit longer as well. Bag E, arms, pills. This looks like probably rear arms, hinge pins. Yeah, oh, it comes with a little thick sway bar, I think, for the rear end. So this is probably the rear end. All molded pieces come on parts trees. Moving on to bag F. So this looks like rear hubs, drive shafts, or CVAs, steel hexes, sort of milled out a little bit there, more hinge pins, steel ball studs, little Teflon washer there, and bag G. So this, I'm assuming, is the front arms. I guess it comes with a front sway bar as well. Super thick. So these are longer than the EB410 arms, obviously. I'm a little bit concerned because on my EB410, you know, one of the weaknesses was definitely the inner hinge pins on the front end. They have the super hard ones now, which I've been running, which are better, but still can bend. So now you add like even longer arms, even wider tires, you're gonna have even more forces being applied to these hinge pins, so hopefully they do not bend, but we will have to see. A and B blocks, I think they changed the A block a little bit, basically to mate into the chassis. Speaking of chassis, here it is, the chassis. Yeah, so you can see the front end is a little bit, it kind of has this cutout and that little nub right there in the front. I believe they actually reinforced this chassis is a little bit for more wear. I'm not really sure where that is, if it's around here in the front. That was kind of where I was experiencing a little bit where basically the kick up was there in the front. But very nice chassis, compatible with the EB410, although they did change the A and B blocks. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of milling here as well. I don't know if that's on the buggy, but you can upgrade your EB410 to use this if you want, or you can leave it as is from before. And then the second big bag of stuff, let's cut this thing open so you can actually see what's inside. Knock all that stuff out. Shock fluids. All right, here we go. Let's start. I think we were on H now. All right, so this has got to be the front end, the front spindles, front caster box, Front drive shaft, CVAs again, hinge pins, bearings. Yeah, so one thing to note with this vehicle, it's designed to use associated truck wheels, like stadium truck wheels, or you can run slash 4x4 wheels, which are the same as the slash 2-wheel drive rear wheels. After H is I. So I'm going to run associated stadium truck wheels. That just seems to make the most sense, and is really the Roar legal wheels you're supposed to be running. So this has got to be the front shock. What? This looks like a rear wing. So maybe this is the rear shock tire? Really? Okay. I don't know if this is front or rear. Maybe it's front with body posts, I'm guessing. Turnbuckles. So these look very similar to the EB410 black oxide coated steel. You've got, what is all this? Oh, ball cups, a little caster block, or camber block, I'm sorry, of some sort. Yeah, nothing too crazy going on there. I and then J. So this looks like the center chassis stuff. So chassis, not chassis. Chassis, please. You got the center drive shafts here. They look pretty similar to the EB410. Are these? Oh, they're all. Okay, so they're still aluminum, tapered. Are they all steel now? Ooh, I think they're all steel. No. These are. I can't tell. Honestly, I can't tell if these are steel or aluminum. I bet you they're steel. They look slightly different from the EB410 frame. Anyways, you got the aluminum motor mount, the rear chassis braces, the center, I don't know what you call it, spine of the vehicle, and some more bearings, screws, miscellaneous front bumper. Okay. Moving on to bag K. Looks like shocks. I'm guessing these are the front shocks. So they changed the springs. They got these kind of gold looking or copper looking, bronze looking springs. So it's interesting. I don't think the EB410 springs would work because these are the same shocks as the rear of the EB410, but obviously you're going to have thicker rates. And then they've got all brand new shocks for the rear, which are going to have longer springs. So I'm guessing they came out with a whole new set of springs. I'll have to check on that. Molded pistons that are basically mated into the shock shafts. The much maligned shock caps, the plastic shock caps. Hopefully they've been improved. We'll have to see. Obviously that was my biggest gripe with the EB410. The plastic shocks just were not threading on very well onto the shocks, and I ended up getting aluminum ones. Bag L, rear shocks, looks about the same. Again, obviously plastic shock caps. They did change the shock, I guess internal, I don't know what we call it, the internal stack. So they do have different inserts there for those X-rings. So that was an upgrade again I did on my EB410. Nice to see that they have addressed that. And bag N looks like different, just a little front body brace. Not sure what this thing is. Oh, I think that's also part of the center shaft. Bag M, antenna tube. What is this? Oh, okay, just some more of the plastic side guards and stuff. Servo horns, plastic, obviously. You will definitely want to get an aluminum servo horn. And then finally the manual, stickers, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the contents of, oh, we got one more bag. Bag O, I think I already covered that. Anyways, that's it. I am going to build it with some electronics. I already picked out what I had. Gonna run the V3.1 stock spec ESC. I'm not sure Hobbywing actually makes these anymore, but they were pretty much my choice for reasonably priced, reasonably sized, mod capable 120 amp ESCs. I'm going to try out this new servo made from Expert. I mean, it's not new, but it's new to me. So this has really good specs. Let's see here, we got 14 to 17 kilograms of torque, which is like 200 something. Pretty fast 0.08 speed, which is always nice. Definitely like fast arrows. And the motor I'm going to be running is this, an SMC 4500 kV, 4-pole, 540 size motor, censored obviously. This is what I ran in my Hobal Hyper TT. Had a ton of power. I think this thing can take it. I think it'll make it more fun. I mean, more power, more fun, right? And so yeah, that's going to be my choice for the motor. And then in terms of paint, I've been looking at what I'm going to paint this thing. You know, in the pictures, this thing kind of looks like a frog to me, so I think I'm going to paint it like green and purple or something, some crazy looking colors like that. I'm going to veer a little bit from my traditional red, black, and white. So yeah, that's pretty much an unboxing video of the Tekno ET410. Going to be building it up over the next few days, maybe a week, seeing how much time I get. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, add a comment, let me know what you think about this unboxing video, and look for more videos soon. Thanks, guys.